Hi everyone. So I think this will be one of the most useful tutorials for everyone because this is going to go over creating a water material for your cavity and how to animate it if you want to use it in one of your animation scenes, which you probably will want to. So this is just that same scene I had before, except now if I go to shading, I have this plane here. If I hide, you can see it's just this void and gap in my room in this part. So this is literally just a plane that I've created. You don't need to create some cube or fancy curvy models. If I isolate this plane, this is all it is that I'm gonna just apply my water material onto. So turn that off. So yeah, first step is creating a new material. So you can either do this, go create new material, or a little quick tip is you can just double click and it'll make a new one and then call it water cavity or something. And then find your plane. Let me get rid of these. Find your plane, drag it onto it. So now you can see my internal water, or maybe I should call it cavity water, has my water cavity material on it. So double click and open up your material and we'll just get started. So first thing we want to do is we can actually uncheck the color channel, go to your transparency and check the transparency channel, obviously. It's actually quite easy. They've set up a lot of things for you. So in this transparency channel, just go to refraction preset. In this drop down, select water. That's kind of all you have to do. And here's this absorption color, which is kind of the gradient or like tint of your water. So I might make mine a slightly like kind of grayish, maybe a grayish light blue. And if you lower this absorption distance to say something like 10, you can see it absorbs a lot of that color. So I might actually make mine a bit brighter and go light. And you can see now how much it absorbs. So if I go to 20, it gets a bit lighter, a bit more diluted, you could say. 30, 50. So I kind of might stick to 50. That looks alright. And if you want, you can add a tiny bit of blurriness. It might add a bit of realism to it, like 2%, maybe 5%. And you can see it's gotten a bit blurry here, so if I change it back to 0, it's gone perfectly clear. Maybe for now we'll just leave it at 0, because it actually makes your rendering times a lot faster. I mean, not a lot faster, but a bit faster when you have less blurry materials. Sorry, I was just getting water there. So now you've got that done. Come down to your reflectance and you're going to have this default specular. As always, all you can do is click it, hit remove, and then go to add and Beckman. And I think that's pretty much it for the water material in terms of the reflection side. Oh yeah, and make sure you go to Fresnel dielectric like we do always, and then preset water. And that's pretty much it. Maybe make your roughness 3%. And I kind of just leave it at that. Now the next step and the most important step is your bump map. So this is kind of going to add that waviness to your water. So if I come up here, go to, where is it? Maybe not in this one. C4D flowing curtain. I might not have it here. Tony chair, no. Ocean environment. Oh, it's kind of the similar effect with the ocean, where it just kind of you can this is how you make that bumpy wavy pattern on an object using a bump map. So come to your bump map, make sure it's checked. Go up here to texture where the little arrow is. Drop down. Find your noise. Click it. You'll see bumps are already starting to appear. and you are going to need to do some testing in terms of how you want it to look, because so you're going to have to render, change some settings, render, change some settings. So I'd recommend lowering your resolution, and I'll go through that in one sec. So you've added your noise map, click this little image here of your noise map, and honestly, for now, we can just see how this looks. So you've kind of done all the setup. So it's the, if I uncheck this is the exact same settings I've used in my tutorial that I made before, except this for you might be 20%. I can set mine up to 20 since we're doing a preview. Even just to test, I might set up to 40, but I have lowered my resolution because right now I'm just testing. So that's kind of it. Current frame, cool. We just hit render, which is this middle button here. Might need to zoom in a bit. Just give it a sec. So as you can see here, it is working, but it's extremely large waves and does not look natural at all. So we might need to reduce the scale of those bumps by quite a bit. So all you do, if you go back here into your noise map, if you're stuck on this little screen, on your bump screen, if you need to get into the settings, just click it and it'll go in. Alternatively, you can also click noise and that'll go into it too. So we need to make the scale smaller. So we can use this global scale percentage. So if we go back to my render, that's quite big. I might want to go to like 30% of that size. So I'll just go change my scale to 30, hit render, see how that looks. Give it a sec. So that's starting to look better, but still it's a bit too bumpy, you know, like it looks too, like it's kind of like outside or like really windy. There's just a bit too many bumps there. So to change that, we need to make it calmer. And what we can do is change how this noise map looks in terms of these two colors. So how the noise map works is if I put these side by side, whatever is white pops out of the material, so gives you that little bump, and whatever's black goes inside to like downwards in space. So that's how this noise map creates this pattern. So if we make the white and black contrast a lot lower, we can make it look a lot calmer. So you can use this slider here. So you can see now we're getting a lot more gray rather than just straight up black and white. So this is like full gray almost, and you can see how much calmer this preview is. So the higher I go, the bumpier it gets. So let's, for example, just try something like negative 40%. Hit not that button, sorry. Hit this button. See how we go. And you can see that didn't really actually do too much to it, and it still looks a bit too bumpy. So I might go something crazier like negative 85. Hit render again. And now you can see it's a lot calmer, like way calmer, and it's looking a bit nicer. Now we can read the chair reflecting off the water, and I can actually, I might even go a bit lower than that, honestly, maybe like negative 95, and hit render on that. See how we go. So this is kind of the process you want to go for, and just do your really low resolution. If I go here, see these really low res 640 by 360 res, do whatever you want. And now we're getting something that looks a lot nicer. And once you're happy with how it looks, go back to your output, turn your resolution back up to 1280, which is not your final resolution you want to use, but a good medium. And then now we're getting a bit higher preview. Give this a sec. And then in a second, I'll just show you how to animate it. And so now you pretty much understand this bumpiness of the texture is literally controlled by the bump map. That's why it's called a bump map. Using a noise map here and then controlling the contrast of it. You can also, if you want a really spiky, bumpy material, if you're making something like on a mountain or in a rocky environment, that's when you'd have a really high contrast, like something like this. But we'll set this back to 95 for our water purpose. So now you can see this is a bit higher resolution. Water's looking nice. You can adjust the color as well if you want to. Go up to transparency. It's looking a bit too blue for me, so I might go back down to like there. Hit render again. And you can see it's only taking like 30 seconds for me. For you guys, it might take a bit longer because you're on laptops. Right now, I'm on a PC. And I might quickly go over the animation aspect of this. While this renders, give it a sec actually. There we go. It's looking a bit less blue compared to this one. You can see the difference. And I like that absorption rate. If you want to make it appear deeper, just go to 100. You want to go lower actually, 10. And then hit render again. And you can already tell it's going a lot bluer. So to animate it, go back into your bump channel, open the noise up. All you got to do is set the speed. So maybe set it to something like 1 or 2%. It might be a bit fast actually. Maybe just test out with 1%. And oh, by the way, now you can see it appears to be so much deeper than it was before. So if I go between those, so yeah, the lower the absorption rate, the deeper the water will look. Anyway, yeah, so you just set the speed to 1%. And give it a direction, just maybe 0.2 in the x-axis, 0.2 in the z. So this is your directions of the water, so x, y, z. So I've just moved it in these two. You can do the same thing if you want. Maybe to test our animation settings, if you watched the other video, all I do is turn off global illumination for my render settings. Go to all frames. And now hit render. That's fine, don't really care about saving. And also one thing I might do is turn down my resolution so you can get something out a lot quicker. I might go to something like 300 just for this tutorial's sake. Yes. And it's really hard for you guys to see maybe, but if you give me a sec, you can actually, it's hard to see, but the water is moving. So once you set this to a bit higher resolution, to your 1280 by 720 res, and then hit render, it'll look a lot nicer. But yeah, the water is moving. It just looks really low quality, but you can see here the little jaggedness happening. So yeah, and also if you want to achieve this, there's a tutorial in one of the YouTube playlists, and I also go over how to drape a cloth over a chair. So yeah, but that's pretty much it for your water material. Really simple. Watch this as many times as you need to, and feel free to ask me questions in class if you run into some issues. So yeah, thanks for watching.